played the song too loudly there. I played it too loudly. Don't blame me. But welcome to episode 2 of the Final Split, guys. Welcome aboard. We have returning this week, feeling a lot better. Hopefully, we got Sinister One.
Much better. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thumbs up.
Also, in the bottom left, in the red box, we have Spike Vegeta looking up to the sky. How's it going, Spike?
Yeah, just checking out for ceiling spiders. That's all I do.
You don't want them to fall down on you. And
No.
our special guest this week, live from his new house, and it's currently being constructed. Actually, look at this.
Yes.
Got the drywall in the background here. It is the very funny Striker. Welcome aboard, Striker.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
It's going well, man. I'm excited to be here. And now that all of our ears are, deaf because I played the intro music at about 50 times the volume that I was supposed to, I guess it's time to go ahead and kick this show off here. So let's go ahead and press start on this show with our first topic here. Guys, Speed Demos Archive is 10 years old. Can you believe it?
And
No.
No, it's hard to believe.
That's it. No.
That's it. The
topic.
end. Next
Yeah.
topic. That's Sinister One and Spike. You guys have been here a lot longer than myself and Striker. So, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the 10-year mark?
I found Speed Demos Archive in about 2008, which is a long time ago now. Wow, it's actually almost 6 years ago.
No.
But I remember at the time that I found it, I think the most vivid memory I have is watching the Super Metroid run by Hoda Ruby and just being like, oh my God. Like just
How did you do that?
the mind blown factor, and then just kind of like it was the coolest thing about back in the day Speed Demos Archive was that like it was before streaming and everything like that. So like when there was an update to the site, you would get so pumped. It was like opening presents on Christmas morning. Like you'd have all these runs and you'd be like, oh man, like, cause you don't know what tricks are going to be in the run. You'll be like, how did this guy beat the old run by a minute and a half? Like you had no idea. And then you'd see him do like all these crazy new strats and be like, oh wow. So yeah,
I know,
that's
Spike.
cool.
That's something that you brought up as well with your runs, that you kind of would find out that somebody else had a different time, but you couldn't figure out how they possibly had it because all
Right.
you knew was the time, right?
Yeah, so many people here. You all are so spoiled. You're used to seeing it live, and just kind of naturally, almost being desensitized to. Oh well, we know all these tricks. We've seen them done 1,000 times. But yeah, back in the day, I actually found STA back in 2004 when there was
Wow.
like 13 runs on SDA. I was in high school. Yeah, it was a 10 years ago. So math, I was 16.
He watched all 13 runs in 1 hour of class, by the way, too.
Yeah, I did. There was like nothing on there, so I thought it was just this little website. But no, yeah. So you would make your own run, and then it's just doing a run. People would be crazy about it. Just they didn't care what the time was. They were just like, "Whoa, someone speed ran, X game, Link to the Past, Super Metroid, whatever," and so instantly it was cool. But then years later, the community would grow more and more and more. And we've seen all these improvements, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. If I had to pick a favorite moment from over the years, it was definitely my first GDQ I went to, SGDQ 2011. Just finally getting to meet the community and see how they weren't just like internet celebrities to me, that they were actually just really good people. And it's such a positive, happy, healthy community that has just grown and grown and grown. And every year it's been fun seeing that grow. And for the most part, I like you guys. So.
For the most part. All right. We won't
Yeah.
name names,
Thank you.
Golden, but so Striker, you've had a chance to do a run. We've all had a chance to do a run in one of these marathons here. What is it like just being, not necessarily from the website perspective of Speed Demos Archive, but being in those live marathons? What's it like? Would you recommend it to everybody? I know you would.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, beforehand, well, I guess the first actual AGDQ that I watched was, I guess, 2013. So like I'm still a baby to kind of this whole thing. I mean, I saw Tiki play like forever ago. Kind of, I stumbled across a couple of his runs, but I didn't even realize that there were actual live marathons until like the AGDQ 2013. And then as soon as I was like, dude, if I could go one of these things, I'm gonna go. And so, I mean, I submitted my game, and like I was nervous as I was sitting there, like just constantly staring at the pages, like when am I going to find out? When am I going to find out? And when I found out I was like, dude, I'm so freaking hyped. Then you finally get to go, and then like nothing can actually compare or prepare you for that moment when you're actually sitting in the chair and you're like, oh wow, I'm in front of however many people. Of course, it wasn't as big, for the other marathons, but like it was just absolutely crazy just to be able to sit there and like play my favorite game and like share that with other people and be able to talk about it and just have a good time. It's absolutely an experience that if you can do it, definitely do it.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I mean, you don't realize it until you sit down in that chair, but it's something else. You get a little nervous.
Yeah.
You just can't shake it no matter what you think about, but it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, there you go, guys. SDA 10 years old. We're going to talk about some of the best moments over the past 10 years as we move on through the show, but let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. I knew I would do that. I misclicked. Let me there you go. It's the clippy clip.
The clippy clip.
The big plays are coming up. Don't worry about it. But at the moment, we'd like to talk about Strider, since that is the current new NES speedrunning craze. Sinister One, you seem to know quite a bit about what's going on here. Why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown here? What happened?
What's going on here is severe brokenness of a game that should take over 30 minutes to complete, but now takes less than 5. Basically, Bad Breaks and Blecky did a blind race of this game for some ungodly reason, and both of them were like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then for some reason, Blecky kept at it, and he like found that he could do this this wall zipping like is done in the Taz in real time. They actually use some pause buffering, believe it or not, to manipulate their positioning to get stuck in the wall. And you can also damage boost to get out of bounds in one spot as well. So it breaks the game pretty wide open, and there's actually a bunch of people right now that have been playing it. Just to name a few, like Blecky is the one that I think he actually has the best time as of this morning. That could have changed because the competition's been so hot and heavy, but he had the best time. And I think, Cool Kid's been playing it. Bad Breaks has been playing it. I've seen Garrison playing it. I've seen Jeff Sledge playing it. Like a whole community basically spawned overnight for this.
Yeah, as the result of a blind race, no less. But yeah, it's certainly a game that's short enough that people can pick up really quickly. It's a 5-minute run. Pretty much what we're showing you here is the entire run. It's 3 levels.
Right.
But it's got some cool elements. There's lots of sliding, lots of zips, some good boss fights there. And yeah, I guess the big thing for a lot of people was getting under 5 minutes, and there are several people who have that at this point.
Yeah, I think at least 4 people have under 5 minutes. There could be more. A few other people that are playing it. Infested Reach, I know, is playing it. I don't know if Insult is playing it, but he found one of the key strats, and also Nadua, who plays a lot of Mega Man. He plays it, and Bangera also. So there's like just a ton of people kind of going at it. But I feel like they're going to get to a point where there's like a finite time that they can get, and so that's kind of cool. It'll be like, okay, who's going to be the first one to get the fourth or
that's
whatever.
Kind of the appeal of it, I think, to me, is that at the moment it's up for grabs, and it's just whoever is the first one to get it is going to have it. It's an exciting thing when something like that happens and a bunch of people jump on a game and try to seize it. So there you go. That is Strider. And almost like Strider, but with a K. We've got our guest Striker here.
Good segue.
Thank you. I learned from Flicky. I learned from Flicky, guys. How to do this.
That's great.
It's time for real talk with our guest Striker here. So, those of you that don't know Striker, this Star Wars guy, obviously a big fan of Star Wars. You wouldn't be able to tell by all the memorabilia in the background at the moment, but Striker, let me just start off with, when did you first get into Star Wars? And
Star Wars.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
What was your first exposure to it? Do you even remember?
I don't think so. Like, I just know that my dad has just been a huge fan of it. My dad has been to literally every opening day of all of the Star Wars films. Like, he worked at a movie theater when Episode 4 came out. And he was like, I bet this is going to be pretty cool. And they sat midnight of the first showing, and he was like, dude, this is it. I'm sold for life. And so I've been to, I'm still a youngin, but I was able to go to episode 1, 2, and 3 opening day with him, which was pretty cool. But I mean, ever since I was a little kid, he's just been in love with it and passed it on to me. So been
Was
around for a
episode
while.
1 your first I guess film experience with Star Wars, or did you see 4, 5, and 6 before that?
Oh, I saw 4, 5, and 6. Like,
Okay.
pretty sure like the first day I was born.
Yeah.
My dad was just like, "All right, son, you're getting started. Just lay me down." And
Right, you had no choice. You were,
yeah, it was. I was set.
He brought a VCR to the
Yeah,
hospital
yeah,
as
that's
you were
right.
being born.
Yep, he's like, "We're getting this start out right." Actually, like, my middle name is Indiana, and so I was named after Harrison Ford's character, Indiana Jones. So my dad's just a freaking nerd down to his core. So, so yeah.
So he'd fit right in with the rest of us
yeah,
anyway.
Yes, very well.
So what what got you into speedrunning the Star Wars games? I mean, obviously you're a big fan of Star Wars to begin with, but when did you first decide, okay, what inspired you to start up speedrunning in the first place, and then how did you land on Star Wars?
Actually, I started. I guess the first exposure that I had to speedrunning was actually Sid Lemich. Back like I think maybe when he had 200 people watching him. Like I'm not like, a few years ago, but like I remember sitting and watching because I loved playing Mario 64 as a kid. And I thought I was good at it. Like when I was playing, like with my friends,
Sure,
were always
don't we
like,
all?
yeah, they were like, my friends would always want me to play because like they couldn't get any of the stars. I mean, like I was good enough to at least get all 120 stars. Like I couldn't do any of the other stuff, and so
I can triple jump. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so all my friends were like, "Yo, you help me out with this." I was like, "All right, fine, I'll do it for you. No big deal." And then sure enough, I watched Sage play, and I'm just like, okay. And then I was set. I was like, I started looking up like anything that I could find on it, and then I found SDA, and then I was a big fan of the Mega Man series, so I started watching Mega Man runs and all this stuff, and then I decided that I was going to pick up speedrunning. I guess it was a little over a year ago. It was, yeah, a little bit over a year ago. And I decided to run Banjo-Kazooie. I don't really like talking about it because now I.
Oh, we're gonna have to bring
despise
that up a little
game.
later. I'm not letting you get out of this, but
Yeah, I know. But I started running that game. I ran it for a little bit, and then I was involved with Halo, so I was doing some Halo stuff on the side, and then
yeah.
finally
Hold on a minute. Let's expand on that a little bit. This is
do it.
interesting. Okay, I don't want to take like an hour on the Halo thing, but there's an interesting connection that Stryker and I have as a result of playing Halo. We both used to play. And do you want to tell it, or do you want me to
go for it, man? It's all you.
All right. I'll do my best. I'll try to do it justice here. But we both had a mutual friend. I knew him from high school. How did you know him? That's my question.
I had a buddy that I just randomly met in the MLG playlist, and then he was like his old doubles partner. I guess he was Justin's old doubles partner.
Okay.
So like I guess he was like, hey, we should play with this guy and see if we can form a team. I was like, okay, like, we don't have a team, so let's figure something out. And then
there we
from
go.
there-
Yeah. So then what had happened is that we were playing as a team like once a week or so, just playing Halo, and we had no idea when we actually met in the speedrunning community that it never occurred to me. And then we started talking about Halo one day, and we drew the connection. So we knew each other.
I remember you raided me. And so we were in the old Mumble, and like I was like, we went to our own channel real quick. I was just like, yo, thanks, man, I really appreciate it. And I was like, so how'd you get the name Golden? And then you started going into the story, and I was like, wait a minute, did we used to play Halo together? And sure enough, we found that out,
Yeah.
and ever since then, just best friends, dude.
So yeah, we knew it. We knew it from there. So let's talk a little bit about your AGDQ run.
All right.
Obviously, first of all, it's at like 7 a.m.
Yes.
So we stayed up all night for that, and I'm glad I did because
Yeah.
if I went to sleep, I would have stayed asleep. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it really meant a lot that you guys all stayed up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you had a lot of fun with it. I don't know that as many people had a chance to see it, but hopefully they'll go back and watch it now because you were funny the whole time. But
Yeah, I was really, really excited. Like, I guess up until about like 5 hours before, like randomly at 2 o'clock in the morning, I like lost all my nerves and was completely cool. And then but before that, like the night before, we went to Fridays, and I was just sitting there. I was like, dude, I can't even eat. I don't know what's going on, and like I don't know which way's up, which way's down. I am I gonna freaking what am I gonna do during this run? Am I gonna mess up? You know, all those things going through your head, and then kind of out of nowhere, I was just like, we were in the practice room, I think, and I just saw all you guys, like all my friends were just up and hanging out. And they were like, dude, we're not going to sleep, we're staying up. And once that hit me that all you guys were doing that, I was just like, dude, this is freaking cool. And then I was like, let's just have a fun time, let's do this. And then we sat in the room, and I had Andy literally rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah, there were many
It's
fun
pretty
times
great.
in that run. Actually, I'm going to show one in just a second here, but before we get to that, also want to mention that you were I believe, this is undisputed, first person to get a world record live at AGDQ 2014.
Oh yes, yeah, and in the practice room, the legend tells of the 12 who were in the room. But yeah, it was me. I know Ivan was sitting next to me, and then Andy was on the other side. I think Ivan was to my right, and Andy was to my left, and they were just practicing their games. We were all just sitting there practicing, and then like I'm sitting there, and the funny thing is like I wasn't like fully focusing because I was just so hyped to actually be in their presence and watching them play the games that I watch them play online all the time. I was like, dude, I'm watching freaking Ivan play Super Metroid and Andy play Link to the Past, and like I was sitting there and like I'd made fun of him. Oh, nice job missing that, you know, like the entire time, and then by about like 30 seconds before the run was over, like I looked down at my timer and I'm like, wow, this might be a world record. And I got really nervous and like sitting there, I'm like, oh, I need to focus maybe. And sure enough, I ended up beating my PB by like 2 seconds. And I got up and I couldn't even believe what had just happened. And then everyone was like, oh, it's the first one of AGDQ. I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. All right, I want to show a clip here. This is what happened after his run. So
oh, you have the clip.
I have the clip here. I'm not letting you get away with this. So I believe this was a donation incentive, was it not? It was, I think. So this was Stryker doing the Star Wars gangster rap as a donation incentive. Let's take a look.
What is thy bidding, my master? It's a disaster, Skywalker, we're after. What if he could be turned to the dark side? Yes, he'd be a powerful ally. Another Dark Jedi. He will join us all.
Are we muted,
We got
Golden?
Death Star. We got Death Star. We got Death Star. We got Death Star.
There it is.
We got Death Star. We got Death
Oh
Star.
my gosh. The room is so good.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, so you had some fun with that. Guys, you should check out the run if you haven't had a chance yet. Empire Strikes Back. Just look for it. You'll find it. So looking forward now. You got SGDQ coming up.
Yes, yes.
What are you thinking about? Tell us what you're running and what you're thinking about it.
Oh, I'm doing Return of the Jedi, so the final installment of the Super Star Wars series. I'm looking forward to it. Originally, you know, I wasn't sure if I wanted to submit a game just simply because, you know, I had just done one. I wasn't sure if I just kind of wanted to go chill, you know, like I wasn't really sure. But then everyone was like, oh, do it. I was like, all right, you know, I'll submit it. And then obviously, you know, Romscout's a cool dude, and I know he enjoyed the run as well and felt that I did a good job with it. So I was able to get in, and I'm fairly nervous simply because Empire Strikes Back doesn't have nearly as much RNG as Return of the Jedi does, and there's just a lot of really, really quirky random things. Like randomly, platforms just won't spawn and stuff like that. So in terms of marathon safeness, there are some aspects of the game that are more marathon safe, but that aspect of it, you know, I'm kind of interested to see kind of how it all plays out. Either way, I'm gonna have a good time, and you know, I'm gonna make everyone laugh.
I don't doubt that. So it'll be a fun run regardless.
Yeah.
I
So
hope you have a better time slot this year.
Yeah, we'll see. That would be cool.
All right. One more thing I want to get to before we move on. You know, this is something that brings me in when I see your stream. It's your guitar playing. You want to talk a little bit about how long have you been playing guitar, and you know, what do you?
Sorry.
What do you have to say about it?
I've been playing guitar for, I guess, almost 14 years now. I started out. I've been singing my whole life, and so I guess about middle school, you know, I saw some people like, you know, not a lead singer pick up his guitar and start playing. I was like, oh, you know, maybe that would be a cool skill to have, just kind of as, you know, as a backup for my singing. and then I picked it up, and like from the moment I picked it up at first, my buddy let me borrow his electric. He called it Chameleon because like it actually changed colors and the light and stuff. And ever since then, like I picked it up and never put it back down. Just been playing ever since. And so it's actually what I do for a living. I teach guitar and then sing and stuff like that. So I
Sounds
enjoy
like
doing that for the
sounds like a fun job to have. Now, I'm not going to put you on the spot here if I ask you to play some guitar for us later in the show, am I?
Oh no, not at all. I'll have to switch mics, but we can make that happen.
Okay, yeah, we can maybe make that happen later in the show. We'll try to make room for that, of course. So that's Striker, guys. He's going to be with us the rest of the show. Thanks again for taking part in the
Thanks
interview.
for having me.
And yeah, welcome aboard on episode number 2. Let's go ahead and get into some of the topics of today, as we are in the middle of the Real Talk section here. So we did bring up at the start of the show that SDA is 10 years old at this point. But a place I'd like to go with this discussion is, what do you hope to see from SDA in the coming years, whether it's website related, whether it's marathon related? Sinister One, let's go ahead and start with you.
I would like to see continuing improvements to the website, to the verification process. There have been changes recently in terms of public verification being something that was proposed and then implemented and has worked out so far. The actual submission process has been made in a million times easier recently. I don't know if anybody's submitted recently, but I'd submitted some runs the other day, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much easier than it used to be. So just more improvements like that, and then obviously just continued growth of the community and the marathons.
All right, Spike.
I said I found SDA back in 2004. And 10 years later, we still have the same site layout. And it's not bad, but it's going to the website. I'm not trying to insult any of them. Of course, I love everyone at Speed Demos Archive, but it doesn't have the look of a website that has raised millions, literally millions of dollars for charity. So I guess I'd like to see some sort of a site update, even if it's just a layout. Verification has always been an odd thing with me. I don't know what to say about that. I understand it's just a process. It sucks that certain runners, like we know Tiki for his recent any percent world record, he has the Twitch VOD, but he's never going to send it to SDA because his capture card's not good enough. And it kind of stinks that people. It does cost a certain amount of money to be able to get your runs onto the website, which years ago I remember that games list on Speed Demos Archive was what your goal was. You wanted a game in that archive to be immortalized forever. And it definitely still is, but there's also a lot of completely outdated pages. And I'd like to see some way that SDA is able to find a compromise between we want our high quality runs, but we also want to keep you up to date to not mislead people. Because at the marathons, they say, go check out Speed Demos Archive. We got over 1,000 games on there. And you go there, you might check out Ocarina of Time, and it's Kazooie's 4.5-hour MST run from 7-8 years ago.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so it's something that could keep it refreshing more frequently and kind of more up to date. Not necessarily having every best time, but
no, they've never claimed to be a record site, which
right.
I respect, and I don't think they have to be.
Yeah,
can I just chime in on that? Something I saw recently. Somebody submitted a run that was actually not the best, and I was actually really happy about that because it was just an updated run over what was on the site, and it had the current strat. So it's like, who cares if it was 10 seconds behind the actual world record?
Yes.
I mean,
right.
Most people that are watching the run aren't going to know that anyway. So it's just kind of, it would be nice to see like more submissions along that lines of, it doesn't have to be the world record. It can just be a run that you're proud of, that you're happy with, that's high quality, and then it has the
right.
newest strats.
And I think a little bit of that falls on people to have to want it to want their run to be verified. So it's tough to place the blame in the right spot there. Sometimes maybe a game has a really good runner that just either, like you said, has technical limitations so they can't submit their run, or they just don't feel compelled to submit it. So what do you do in those situations? I guess for me, what I'd like to see is I think the archive of the high quality speedruns is really good. But I think with such a strong showing with all the live marathons, I mean, they're, undisputed these are the best marathons for speedrunning, the ones that are put on by SDA. Everybody wants to be there. All the best players show up. Nobody's trying to compete with it. So what I would like to see is that from the front page, can I have some method to go back and watch, classic games done quick, or go watch summer games done quick? Why is the games list just a list of the high quality runs that have been verified, when I think the marathons are equally important, if not more popular?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
it's just hard.
definitely
It's just hard to find right now. Like I'm sorry, Spike. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
Go ahead.
I mean, you can. Yeah, it's just not as apparent. Like it comes back to what Spike said about
Right.
we need to update the website to make it just more user friendly so that people can find the
Yeah,
marathons.
I agree.
'Cause that
I mean,
stuff
you
is actually
certainly-
on there. It's just buried a little bit.
Right, you certainly can find it. It's just, it would be really nice if that was more accessible. I think more people would find use out of this site. Striker, any thoughts? You seem to be mostly agreeing with what we're saying, but
Yeah, I mean, I second all that. I feel like from a marketing standpoint, I mean, just a little bit, more apparent. I guess navigation, is huge, especially for someone who might even be looking on their phone. Like, just it makes it a lot harder when the site in itself. I mean, the site is great, and there's a lot of positive things to take from it. But I mean, if you could eventually get like your own mobile like version of the site, But I mean, just overall, just continued growth of the community in itself, and seconding everything that you guys have said.
yeah, I think we all unanimously agree here that the marathons are just going to continue to grow and be
Yeah.
wildly successful. So we're all pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on and talk about our next topic then. And that is the topic of tied world records. And we have a couple of reasons that this is coming up. Striker being in the call is one of them. He is somebody who was a part of that kind of situation at one point. But also, Sinister One, do you want to explain to us what the current, in your opinion, tied world record is that should not be?
Well, we just had Cop Power complete a 100% Super Metroid run today. That was a 1:17:59 as he timed it, which happens to match one Zost, who also has a 1:17:59. So technically we'd say, okay, that's a tied world record, and there's a lot of times where you get into that. Okay, we have a tied world record between these two people. And I guess with shorter games, like with Super Mario Brothers, people don't say, oh, well, Andrew G and Cosmic both have 458. So that's a tied world record, right? No, wrong. Oh no, we're going to say that that's not tied because the game's so short and it's so optimized that they're frames apart. So Andrew G actually has the record. So I guess what I'm wondering, and what I want to hear what you guys think is, why should it be different for games that are longer? I mean, Super Metroid 100% is incredibly optimized.
That's a pretty long game. Yeah.
And Cop Power and Zost both played an incredibly high level. So if one of them, which actually this is the one thing I didn't mention, is that if you look, and you could see that Cop Power has a much lower 1:59 than 1:17:59 than Zost. So even though it's the same second, one of them is technically faster than the other one.
Right, and we've seen that a couple other times. Striker, do you want to explain your situation with the tied world record that you were a part of?
Yeah. For The Empire Strikes Back, Jaden also runs the game. And for a while he had a 3530. I guess it was 3530.12. And one of my recent PBs, or I guess it was several months back now, but I got when I hit my split, it was a 3530 as well. But then when I hit the hundredths, it was 3529.99 or something like that. So like by looking at the hundredths, you actually see that it was technically 3529, at least according to when I hit the split. And I went back over and watched it again, and it was a 3529. But prior to that, I was sitting there. Jaden was in the chat, and I was like, what the heck do we do? Like, are we going to actually go through and frame count this, do that whole thing? And he was actually of the opinion similar to Sinister's that like it's clear that like by 10 or a tenth of a second that you're ahead, so it's your time. And so that's kind of what we went with. And actually, as you were explaining, Sinister, I actually now agree with kind of what you were going with. I originally
wait a second.
Yeah, I know.
You won him over.
You convinced me automatically, but basically just if a time, like, I mean, and I guess we'll get into the Pokemon aspect of it fairly soon with like a whole minute being technically tied because there's only game time, or the only game time in the game is a minute long. um I think those for sure, like, I think you need to say that, if two runners have a certain game time tied, but one is almost a minute faster, I personally think that the time should go to the person who actually has the faster time. Um, and I guess, and maybe it's just I'm not as familiar. Like, if how exactly do you count all the frames that are actually within a run if you have like poor recording quality or anything like that? If someone could actually educate me on that.
That's a
I
valid
guess,
point.
yeah, that brings up another issue altogether. I mean, thankfully most people stream live now, so you can pretty much see most of the time from looking at somebody's live recording what it
Right.
actually is versus, a recording that you're getting secondhand that's maybe already been converted to an MP4 or whatever. There might be some lag frames in there, so it might actually be slower than the original.
Right.
But I think when you see it live, then you should be able to say, okay, we can measure this within hundredths of a second for the most part. I don't know. What do you guys think on that?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You had something to say.
In that regard, like, if it's clear that the runner, um if they were both recorded live, they hit the split, you go back and watch over it again just to double check that the split wasn't hit earlier or anything like that. Retime it to make sure if those live recordings, like, it's clear that one is however many hundredths of a second faster, I think that it actually should go to the person who actually has the faster time. However, like, if there is a situation like where the run has been like pre-recorded or something like that, I think it gets a little bit stickier in that regard.
That's true. Yeah, there can be some
Um,
controversy, and I will say one other thing is that a lot of people use virtual dub if they're capturing to their computer or something like that. In virtual dub, you can actually count the frames, so you could
Okay.
technically see to the frame what your
Okay.
run.
All right,
was.
let's kind of take a different approach to this here. So, Spike, let me just ask you what you think about this. So, another example is, Used Pizza and Duckfist kind of agreeing that their Mega Man 10 runs were close enough that they wanted to consider it tied. They didn't really want to get into any of the details, try and break it down and figure that out. Is that kind of up to the runners if they mutually agree on that? Is that fine, or do we still deserve to know, who's got the definitive run out there?
I think it all ultimately comes down to community and communication. I think it comes down to the runners themselves talking it out and saying, all right, do we care to frame count this? Or do we agree on a time? That being said, I think a community starts out as maybe it's two runners, but then someone else comes into it. What if a third person comes in and ties it? Then what do you decide upon? I guess that's what I'm getting at, that all the runners should be able to communicate and say, all right, we didn't care to do it, but if this runner does care, if one of us does, then we need to frame count.
Yeah, so that's kind of another point that I wanted to bring up. You mentioned there. So I guess Stryker kind of touched on it earlier, but Pokemon is a good example of one where I don't necessarily agree with the idea of a tied world record, specifically in relation to game time, when it doesn't round to the nearest second. Because I think there is a drastic difference between somebody who gets a 157.01 and a 157.59. And, again, I think it boils down to the community, what they want. But I would make the case that when you're talking a gap of a minute, that's a large chunk of time.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're sitting here talking about a single second. And, there they are kind of just discarding all the, any seconds that could possibly come into play.
yeah. So I guess it ultimately depends on how picky you are about it and how desperately you want to know who is definitively on top. But an interesting topic nonetheless. Having Stryker have been a part of it. It seems like most of those tied world records eventually get taken care of too. I can't think of any off the top of my
Usually,
head.
yeah. Usually they do. I know that happened a couple times with Mega Man X. Also, while Tiki and Pata and Caleb were battling, I think there were a couple ties in that whole scenario. But I think Tiki was not counting his as tied though, because he was behind by milliseconds or whatever. So he was saying the other guy was faster. So
Yeah.
and I think he was almost using that to fuel himself to push himself even further
Sure.
and say, no, I'm not tied. I got to beat this guy. You know.
And
Like,
are you guys cool with that, or do you want everyone to kind of take the same approach to things? Say, it by hundredths of a second, I was ahead, so I have the world record, or what? I guess how do you
Well-
guys feel about runners discarding that idea?
when it comes down to it, if you want to take the time to save frames within a game, then why wouldn't you want to go by whoever has the fewest frames in their run?
Yeah.
Like if
That's a good point.
if you have a strat that saves 1 frame and you hit that strat, whereas the other run was the exact same as yours, but they did not hit that 1 frame trick, then what was the point of you even going for that trick?
Completely agree.
So I mean, I guess if we're worried about saving frames in the run to actually save time, I guess you might as well actually figure
I
out who
beat
has
you
the
by
least.
2
Yeah,
frames.
yeah. So
Good
sucks
point.
to be you. I'm better. So
That's a good spot to leave it on. I think there's some room for discussion there, but we'll go ahead and let it go for now. Let's move
Yeah.
on to something that's a little less heated and a little bit more exciting. So again, keeping in mind that we're looking back at the last 10 years of SDA here, there have been a lot of live marathons that we've all had a chance to be a part of, and what better way to look back at them than to go ahead and count the top 10 moments from live speedrunning marathons. So
Ooh, nice.
we tried our best to find 10 really good moments here. Let's take a look at number 10. This is J-Man playing Metroid at HDQ 2011. He has 10 energy left at this point, trying to kill Mother Brain. Cannot afford to get hit.
Yeah, if he gets hit once, he's dead. And he had gotten trapped in the lava earlier. It would be too long of a clip to show the whole thing, but he was trapped in the lava below some Rinkas and somehow managed to get out and still kill Mother Brain. And if he didn't do that, his run was mercy killed.
At number
that
9,
was it.
yeah, at number 9 we have Cypher with his super jumps in Super Mario RPG at HDQ 2012. Take a look at the people in the background tapping along with him.
How did he keep his focus with all that?
I have no idea, but if there's
Cypher
one
is
guy
a
you can count on,
machine.
yeah, you can count
When
on
it comes
Cypher.
to speed gaming, he gets so focused. He has more focus than any speedrunner.
Number 8, we have Contra 3 with Mr. K and Herblat playing 2 players, 1 controller, and doing some bobbing and weaving here to avoid death.
Oh, yes, we did.
Oh, this is so good.
Oh my god! How is this number 8? This is so good.
You can blame me because I ranked him, so it's
Yeah,
all
we
my
didn't-
fault.
We didn't have enough time
Consider
to
this.
go through. And,
Consider each of these plays equally valuable. I don't know. I guess number 7, we have Cosmo enjoying a nice pepperoni pizza while trying to navigate Master Stage 9. The donation incentive was for him to play one-handed and eat a pizza, and he navigates one of the hardest stages in the game.
If you watch Cosmo's face as he's eating it, he's still chewing as this section's going.
Not
And then-
only that, but he is enjoying the pizza. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. There's no oh no, I can't do this.
there's genuine happiness as he consumes the pizza and navigates the impossible. I remember seeing this live and just being blown away by it. More because of the pizza thing than because somebody could actually beat the stage. But
Yes.
number 6, we can't do a top 10 without PJ and Mecha Riptor. Listen to this.
I'm out of here. Now we play a game called Hide and Seek. And yeah, good. There's a cool thing about this game.
And at number 5, Carl Sagan. More like Carl Swaggin. Listen to this.
Interesting enough, for this boss fight, the fastest strat is to stand still for a second.
Yeah, as soon as he shoots these blue flames, it's actually faster. It's actually faster to wait for them because it minimizes the amount of time that both of these shy guys are pushing. Back at you. So Triax is known for doing this crazy strat on this boss where he just ground pounds off
Carl's
the
not
edge.
gonna do it. He's
Yeah,
a granny.
I would never do something like that in a marathon.
oh yeah.
Going off.
Oh yeah.
An
remember-
angel was born, and they clapped hands.
At number 4, a few blindfolded heroes here. Sinister, do you know this guy?
Never seen him. No, I remember this moment. My heart rate was just so jacked when this was going on, and then it was like such a relief when I finally knocked him out. I was like, oh my god, thank you, God.
And then giving Mike Tyson himself a little bit of run for his money. You made him sweat a drop or two, I think.
Yeah, I think he was sweating. I almost made it to 130, which I had no idea how close I was to 130 until much later. But yeah,
you
this was.
said you wanted one punch, but you put up a good fight there.
Well, yeah, I'd
And-
only hit the most I'd hit him before that was like 3 punches, I think.
And keeping the blindfolded momentum going, this is a 2-for-1 in the top 10. We also had the super punch out blindfolded by Zallard.
Oops, I accidentally hit a frame perfect counter.
Yeah, accidentally. I like the quote. I don't know if you can hear it in the clip, but as he knocks him down there, he says, "Is this real?"
Yeah,
He can't
that was
believe
great.
that this is actually happening.
Because he had only beaten the game one time before this. Like, he had practiced a lot, and he only beat the game one time. So,
One time
and he
blindfolded.
actually beat it in the
At
match.
number 3, we have Frezzy being asked to rip his shirt off, and I think he does a pretty good job. Take a look.
This is classic games done quick. This is one of the greatest moments. It's just like, boom.
Man, that is
Oh,
just
man.
discrimination against Cotton right there.
That was the only shirt he brought that year in the States.
Wow, that
It's
is
just
impressive.
so appropriate for Contra, too. Like, you got to be shirtless, right?
At number 2, we have The Climb for Super Metroid, the final escape at AGDQ 2014. Ivan taking
Wow,
it by
that's
just
only
a
number
split
2?
second.
Boy,
Oh, man.
Ivan.
I can't wait to see number 1 here. This is...
Look at
And-
all the people going nuts in the
Yeah,
back.
what a crowd
That was so hype.
It
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
Favorite room ever.
And our number 1 moment, the $1 million wonder shot.
You got this.
Ah,
Wonder
okay.
shot.
That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. We hit the 1 million.
And everyone had to hold in during that entire final battle what had already happened.
Yeah.
Raised $1
Everybody trying to keep
million.
it a secret, but yeah, that was it. There it is, the announcement. That's our
Makuyama.
top 10 there. Oh man, a lot of
Nice.
moments. Obviously, many more moments than that throughout the years, but hopefully that gives you a little once over of all the different moments. So, with that being said, let's take a little bit of a break from the marathon discussion and move on to the record of the week in our record setter segment. We're gonna be talking Contra here. DK28 with a 10:02 in Contra, Sinister 1.
Well, DK28 had gotten a 10:04, and he was happy to retire from Contra forever because it was the run and he was done. And then the Mexican runner was like, I'm going to try to beat that 10:04. So DK28 was like, I got to beat this guy to the punch. It's the only way. Like they were pretty much both gunning for 10:03. And then it kind of comes back to that whole tied world record thing. Like, well, who's going to get the 10:03 first? You know, it's like, but he just kind of went above and beyond and went ahead and just got 10:02, which I'm pretty sure he ripped his shirt off afterwards also.
That seems to be a theme with Contra runners. You have to be able to take your shirt off. Now, is it safe to say that Contra is a game that doesn't have a lot of frames remaining in it? Like, this seems...
No,
you know, for a 2-second gap, that seems like a big deal.
I think they said that the ultimate would be like a 959 maybe or something like that. But the problem is there is luck involved, and the skill cap is so high that like when you think about a game like Super Mario Brothers, like there's not much of a luck factor. So that's part of the reason that Andrew can push the game so low, is because he's not dealing with so much RNG. Whereas in this game, there's definitely spots where, you know, the RNG can just be like, sorry, your run is over. And there's frame perfect tricks as well, like that trick he just hit right there to kill that the boss is frame perfect. And that's 4 stages in, so you got to hit a frame perfect trick there. There's a pixel perfect trick in this stage that he's in right now that's worth half a second. That most people forgo, because it's like, if you just hit that other frame perfect trick, do you want to go for a pixel perfect trick now?
How much
for
do you
half
risk?
a second? When you know you're coming up to like 2 of the most RNG based stages afterwards, so like this stage and the next stage are going to be like, you need flame luck with the global timer. Where the global timer is going to determine some things. So, and the whole time you have to be executing very skillfully. So I know that DK is happy with this run, and I would be too. Like if you know, 10:02 is definitely.
Yeah, is it safe to say? I mean, I would assume TMR might at some point pick this up and keep going back at it. But is it pretty safe?
I think he said that he's done, because
Okay.
the one thing that DK has over him is mashing ability. TMR is not the best masher by his own admission, and you actually don't have to be, because
I
for
say
this
it's more
game,
of a rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah, you need to be able to have spread rhythm, but there are certain parts where just pure brute force mashing is going to gain you time, like in the base stages, and that can be equivalent to just like a second or two over the course of the run, just your mashing ability alone. So, if anybody's ever used one of those shot watches at the marathon that people bring, like to test your mashing ability, I think TMR is at like 10 per second, and DK is at like probably 13.
God.
Down there,
And that's
so.
that is a big difference when you think about it. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but
when you're talking
is.
about a game that's down to this sort of level,
Yeah.
that is over frames, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I mean, it would be surprising to see somebody beat this run at this point. That's what I would say.
Really
like a lot of
impressive
times you see a
stuff,
run, and you're like, okay, maybe somebody could beat this. You'd be hard pressed to see somebody beat this run.
All right, guys, there you go. That's DK28's Contra run in 10 minutes and 2 seconds. Be sure to check out that replay there for the full run. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about something that maybe has a little application to speedrunning, but is technically a little bit out of bounds. So let's move to talking about text emotes. They're back on Twitch, once again allowing emotes containing text. I know for the longest time they were against text emotes, but they seem to have reversed their opinion on that. And we're starting to see some already showing up here. So, Spike, what do you think? Is this a good decision?
This is a great decision. You say they were against text emotes. They were originally for text emotes. And then, obviously we all know bonk, reset, stuff like that. And then for a long time, we just couldn't have them. I know I'm already enjoying Cypher's slop emote.
Yeah,
I think he's wanted that one for a long time now. I think everyone is, I don't know if anyone here doesn't know, but or if you're not finding out till now, I think everyone's starting to think, what kind of emotes could I either have for my channel or I want my favorite channels to start having. I think it's creating a lot of excitement. I think it's going to bring a lot more subscribers to more channels. I think it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly opens up the possibilities anyway. Sinister One, do you have anything in mind that you would use as the result of this, or what do you think?
I haven't been able to think of anything, but I like Spike said, I don't see any downside to this. It just seems like it's really good. I've seen already a few, like TMR, who we were just talking about. He's got the no mames, which is like his famous
I know he wanted that for a
catchphrase.
long time too, and they weren't giving it to him.
For people that have that, it's great. And I don't know the history. I wish I knew why they stopped it in the first place, but I'm really glad they reversed the decision.
The only thing I can think of for like a reason why they removed it in the first place is they just felt that it was too unnecessary, like it just created extra spam. But if you're going to go with that argument, then why have emotes in the first place? I mean,
right.
My thought is that you want people to subscribe, so why limit what you can provide to them? I mean, if text is what gets people to create good emotes that get people to subscribe, it's obviously a win-win for everybody involved. So, Striker, what do you think? First of all, I think, hold on, I want to jump in. I think Striker needs to get sub so that we can subscribe to
Right, I was about to say, what's my sub emote?
Yeah, when is that happening? That needs to happen soon.
I have no idea. I think I'm still pretty far ways away from it, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's a way to get more people involved and have a good time while they're hanging out on Twitch. So, I mean, how could there be anything wrong with it?
Yeah, I think.
And I mean, it opens up more creativity for the streamer to come up with, something new. And I mean, for anyone to come up with something. So I see no issue with it at all.
And at the end of the day, they still have to obey the same rules that all the other emotes do. So it's not like you're making wider emotes or, they're really occupying more space in the chat or anything like that. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. And I have an idea for you, Sinister. You need to get TKO and KO.
I saw in the chat a few people were bringing that up, and that could be a good one.
I think so.
You would literally get 200 subs on the first
It's food for thought. All right, guys.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all we have to say on that. It's a nice and short topic, but I think we have quite a bit to say about our next thing here. Let's take a look at what happens when things don't always go the way you want them to. It's time for Glitch Please. Guys, Jackifer got the Mischief Maker's world record, but he celebrated it in a rather weird fashion. Take a look. Body slams the pillow.
That pillow slam.
Fucking world record.
I think he had learned his lesson from slamming his controller one time earlier, so he opted for the pillow.
Now he's back and taking his clothes off. There goes the sweatshirt.
Oh.
There goes the shirt.
We're not
course,
done.
you gotta take the shirt off. That's just required.
Fucking world record, dude.
That striptease.
Yeah. Oh, and he's
That's
just
true.
abusing that shirt. All right. Now this is the most important part. This is a detail. Pay attention to this detail. Walks over, picks up the plastic bottle, 2 taps,
The double tap.
the
The
double,
double
tap,
tap.
and then he sits back down. We got to break this down a little bit. I don't think we've covered this in enough detail. Let's take a look at first the pillow throw. Just immediately darts over. Oh,
10 out of
pillow.
10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
At least a 10 out of 10. There it is, the double tap.
The
on
double
bottle.
tap.
Oh, what is in that bottle, guys? What do you have a guess?
I don't even want to know.
What's in the bottle?
Oh, no.
That's scary to think about.
Nobody wants
it's,
to-
It's Jack,
It's an
man.
Nobody
energy
wants to
drink.
give an
It's an
answer.
energy drink. It's an energy drink. Don't worry.
He went on to do more things that might not be appropriate for the show afterwards. If you want to watch those, go check out his channel. But
Please go follow Jack.
Yeah, Jack is a funny
Such
guy.
a funny channel.
yeah,
Such a good
he's
kid.
fun to watch. All right, guys, let's move on from Glitch, please, and let's put our guest on the spotlight here in a new
Yes.
trivia segment that we like to call Furnace Fun.
How ironic.
How ironic, Mr. Banjo Kazooie. Okay. All right, so what we thought would be fun to do, since Striker is such a Star Wars fan, is we thought we'd put him on the spot with some trivia here and see how he does. So, Striker, are you ready, first of all?
Sure.
All right, you'll be competing today against Sinister One and Spike Vegeta, so
Right.
you'll be taking turns. Yeah, you guys are in on it too. I don't know if you knew that, but
Oh, good. All
all right, so whoever
Your
gets
heads
the
are better
most
than
questions correct will win. I'm going to ask you each 3 questions, and Spike and Sinister, you're a team, so your 3 questions
Oh, okay. Okay.
are okay.
Okay.
Well,
All right. So Striker, we're going to start up with your first question here. What
Right.
does TIE stand for, as in TIE Fighter?
Oh God, I know this.
Oh man, the pressure's on. 10 seconds.
I can't think of it.
No? Nothing? Throw a guess out there. You just put some words.
No.
Nothing.
I legitimately
Nothing at
can't think
all.
of it right now.
No,
Gosh, this is making
oh
me mad.
no, your time's up. It's twin ion engine.
Okay.
Twin ion
Uh,
engine. That's I mean.
Golden, you need to move that to a different spot.
Oh
buddy.
yeah. Can you see the answers? Okay.
Yes.
Don't tell Striker that you can see the answers.
I'm not looking. I'm trying not to cheat, but I saw that.
Yeah, I
and
was
like,
about to say, we'll
please,
stop
I,
looking.
So it is.
I
It
was
is no.
thinking, let that just be the questions, but then I saw an answer. and I
No,
was
no
like, oh,
points for Striker. All right, we got Sinister and Spike Vegeta on this next question. You guys ready?
Yes,
All right.
probably not.
Spell
Can-
Skywalker.
Can we discuss our answer before,
Yes,
like, give our
yes.
final answer?
Oh.
Your question is spell Skywalker.
All right.
Really?
Okay.
All right.
Go for it, Spike.
S
K
Y
Y
W A L K E R.
E R.
Final answer?
Yeah, I think I'm.
I
good
hope
with that.
so.
Oh, you're wrong. You didn't capitalize the S. No points.
Oh,
No points.
oh my god. Brutal.
It is 0 to
Dang.
0. 0 to 0 as we move to question number 2.
These rules.
Oh, that is. You got annihilated on that question.
Oh man.
Okay. This question's for Striker. Whose body is crushed under the foot of an Imperial Walker?
Whose body is crushed under the foot of an Imperial Walker?
That's correct.
Aren't there several?
Not according to this question. I didn't. I don't blame the questions. I didn't write the questions.
Aren't there? I'm pretty sure there are a million different stormtroopers that were. Is it like a specific person?
And we're looking for the name of somebody. Yeah.
Oh God.
Can we give him a hint?
Can I give him a hint? Yeah, I'll give him a little bit
No,
of a hint.
no hints. None of this.
No. Maybe the question wasn't very clear. It's somebody that Luke interacts with.
Oh, people are saying in the chat. Yeah, I didn't get it. Pass it on.
You didn't get it?
No.
Rhymes with snack.
Yeah, they already said it, so it was
Oh,
cheating.
you got it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, yeah, it was-
they
it was
they said it
Jack.
in the chat.
Luke Gunner Zach. All right, no points there for Striker.
All right, you got Golden. You still got to move that thing, dude. We can see.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm bouncing around on the questions, so don't worry
All
about
right.
it.
Yeah.
I trust Striker's not looking.
Okay.
All right.
No, I'm not.
He's 0 for 2, so he's probably.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is Spike and Sinister's question. So we have the 6 episodes of Star Wars out there at this point. Name 6 movies that aren't Star Wars movies.
Inception,
That's one.
Batman,
The
Let's do it.
Godfather.
The Godfather is correct. That's 3.
The Usual Suspects.
Wow, we're going
Godfather
all over-
Part 2.
That's 5.
Bloodsport.
There it is. You did it.
Hey,
6. Oh,
Yes.
6.
All right.
Nice.
1
we're in
point
there.
there for Sinister.
We got
and
one.
Spike.
Nice. We're up.
All right, and we move to our final question here. Man, Striker, you're.
I told you, man. I'm so bad at like when I get put on the spot of anything, I can never remember anything.
All right,
I'm really
don't worry
bad.
about it because this final question is worth double the points.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just like Family Feud, the game is never over until the final question. I just keep doubling the points. Anything can happen here. All right, so your question is for 2 points. What kind of gas is mined by the Cloud City at Bespin?
Oh God.
Easy question, right? I mean, you've seen the movie like a million times.
Kind of gas.
10 seconds.
I have no idea, man.
You don't even have a guess. Nothing.
No, I don't.
All right.
Just
Give me
embarrassing,
any
man.
final words?
Kill me.
Kill me. All right. Well, kill me is not correct, unfortunately.
All right.
It's Tabana gas.
Okay.
So there you
Yeah,
go.
I would have never known that one.
That's a tough one. Okay, no points there. So I guess we don't have to go to a third question for Sinister and Spike because they won 1-0.
Alright.
Good job, guys.
Congratulations, guys.
You did it.
Oh, that was incredible. What a great segment that was. Oh, in the history of Final Split segments, that's gonna go down as
Dude, Stinger freaking should have been the dude. He got all 3 of them right.
Oh
Think
man.
Stinger knew the gas question.
Stinger knew all of them.
What a nerd.
I got
All right,
destroyed.
guys in the chat, get your questions ready for our hosts and for Stryker because we're moving on to our next segment here, which is the Q&A segment. We call it the Boss Rush. It's your opportunity to ask us questions, and I think Sinister One wants to jump in here.
I have a question for Stryker.
Okay.
Would your dad have been a good phone a friend for you as a lifeline? Because he sounds like he might have known some of
I'm
those.
pretty sure he would have known those.
All right, give me a good sense of this because those were listed as hard questions. Were those brutal? Like, were those just unfair?
No, they weren't unfair. I should have known at least 2 of them.
Really? Okay.
The Tabana gas
Fighter
one, I don't think I would have ever been able to get, but I should have known Twin Ion Engine and then also DAC. So those weren't unfair.
If we had said the Battle of Hoth, like the dude who got crushed there, would you have known, or do you remember the name at all?
No, I as soon as you said it, I rememred. So it was one of those kind of things. So
Yeah, sure.
I would have, yeah.
All right, my first question while we're waiting for people to ask questions is earlier in the show I mentioned that Stryker's a big guitar player, and we were going to hopefully get him to play something. So would you do us a favor and maybe play us something here?
Sure. What would you like me to play?
Whatever you would like to play.
Whatever I would like to play.
This is your choice. You are the guest.
Okay. I suppose I could like make up something like I usually do.
There is a request for water in the fitness room if you don't have anything in mind.
Fitness room?
Do you guys know? Do the other hosts know? Do I need to explain water in the fitness room? Are you guys familiar?
Maybe.
This was at AGDQ this year. A bunch of us were up at like 3 a.m. and way too tired. But we were pretty thirsty and we couldn't find any place to get water because they didn't replenish the water that was sitting outside the rooms. But fortunately, we managed to find some water, and Stryker knows exactly where that water is, so he decided to share in song with everybody.
Why can't I figure out where the... Oh, here it is. Okay, we're good. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to switch this up.
All right, let's just make sure it works. Yeah.
We need this to work.
All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna
Can you-
mute my mic. Let you do your
Can you hear here?
Yeah, it sounds just fine.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
We can.
So we're gonna do. Actually, you know what? I have an idea. You ready for this? I think Golden, you'll appreciate this. So here we go. I wanna take this moment here right now and sing a little thank you song to you for inviting me on the final split tonight. I hope you know I think you're alright. And oh, this is the final split song, and I
Striker,
we
everybody.
go.
Wow.
There we go.
That was unexpected and awesome at the same time.
I figured I could
The
throw in a
real
couple little extra things there.
Wow, that was awesome. I expected no less from Striker. I mean, honestly, he wasn't going to disappoint us with that. So
Why does this man
I just-
not have sub?
I don't
Why does
understand.
this
Yeah,
man not have
first of
sub?
all, I don't understand how you don't get more viewers to begin with. But we got to get Striker subscriber here. This is well
thank
deserved
you.
at this point. He's a funny guy. You guys. First of all, all our Twitches are up here on the screen. Be sure to follow Striker.
Thank you.
You got Striker now. You weren't Striker the whole time, but
Oh yeah, I was Striker with 5 R's at the end for a while. That was pretty fun.
Rating
but,
was the hardest thing because I never remember how many it was.
Yeah, it's like, wait, is it 5 at the end? I can't figure it
I
out.
thought it was like 12 at first.
Yeah, it definitely saved a lot of confusion. When I actually, thanks to Used Pizza, man, freaking Used Pizza got it for me. So.
yeah. All right, we have a question here. This is a good question. Everhate wants to know what your favorite Star Wars movie is, Striker.
My favorite Star Wars movie is The Empire Strikes Back.
And can you
Good
explain
choice.
why
Hands
it's your
down.
favorite?
I really like. I don't know. I just the whole the atmosphere of the movie, just in terms of the way that it was shot. Like not only in terms of storyline, but I mean just like Hoth and Cloud City, like just the kind of like juxtaposition of the two, going to Dagobah, meeting Yoda, just having him kind of like be, oh hey, actually I am Yoda. You've been hanging out with me this whole time. I like all that kind of stuff. And then Boba Fett is my favorite Star Wars character ever, and he happens to make his first appearance here. So
There you
What
go.
is the fascination with Boba Fett? I don't want to hang on this for too long, but
I don't know. It's more of, for me, Boba Fett was the only non-Jedi to have ever gotten in a tangle with Darth Vader and win. And so that in itself is pretty
That's
respectable.
pretty legendary, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. He's just the Mandalorian culture, which is where he comes from or whatever. Like that whole thing is just, I've just always been fascinated by that. So Boba Fett just happens to be the one that I like most.
All right, I have a few quick questions for you, so try to give quick answers on these as we try to wrap up here. But
All right.
some people want to know, Mitchell wants to know if you have a YouTube channel that has some of your music.
Actually, I'm working on that. This new house is gonna have a little music room that I'm gonna be able to record some stuff in. So
Nice.
yeah,
So
that'll
the best-
be within the next year probably.
The best answer is to follow Striker on Twitch, and go ahead and give your Twitter too, so people follow you there
It's Indie Striker. I can post it in the
in the chat there.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, yeah, guys, keep up with Striker, and you'll
There
be
we
able
go.
to find that too. Lord Squiddy wants to know what color you're going to paint your room.
What color am I gonna paint my room? It's gonna
Yeah.
be like a, I don't know the exact name of the color, but I believe it's gonna be like a kind of a grayish color, like a darker gray. But I like darker colors, and we're going for some weird grays in the house, and so I guess that's what we're gonna use for my room here.
All right, final question for you from Ninjora.
right.
What are your who are your guitar influences?
Ooh, my guitar influences
Yeah.
a lot. I really Eric Johnson is one. He does the Cliffs of Dover. Broly Lagreen is a gypsy guitarist who I listened to a lot when I was studying jazz in college. Like a million others. Like actually, my guitar teacher who passed away a few years ago, Matt Kovis was his name. He was definitely a huge influence. So yeah, there's a few.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, guys, we're about done with the show. Everybody get ready. Think of a topic because one of you might be chosen at random to have to give our concluding speech here.
Oh no.
Who's it gonna be?
Who's it going to be? That's the question.
That RNG.
All right. Are we ready? I'm going to roll
Yeah.
for it here. Everybody think of something that you want to talk about for 30 seconds. If you get chosen, that is going to be your job. And while we're doing that, actually, if one of you wants to find us a raid target, Spike or
Oh,
Striker,
sure, I can do that.
that would be great. So that we can pick somebody to raid as the show concludes here.
And I just like to give a message to our next guest for next week, which is Bonesaw.
Yeah.
You got to bring your A game, buddy, because I don't know if you just saw what Striker did
Yeah.
with the guitar and what Caleb did with the roundhouses last week.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
we're expecting big things.
The bar is up here, and nobody
Yes.
has had trouble jumping over it yet. So I don't know. We're gonna have to keep raising the bar, I guess. I don't. What are we gonna do? All right. So Striker, Spikes hopefully found us a raid target, and we'll talk about that in just a second here. But the person who has to give tonight's speech is, let me see as I roll for it here. It is Striker.
A speech.
Oh no.
All right. On anything.
Anything you want to talk about. Anything that's on your mind. You know, it doesn't have to be speedrunning related. It can be.
Shoot. First of all, I just want to say thank you to you guys for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure. I guess if anything, just my thankfulness to be a part of a community of such amazing gentlemen as yourselves and ladies as well. It's just really cool to be able to do what I love in terms of like on my stream, being able to play music and have you guys like freak out and wave your arms in the air, fight, do all that kind of stuff, and be able to play video games and just have a blast with all you guys. It's really a humbling and awesome experience. So just thank you guys for having me on the show, and I love every one of you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I love you too, man. It was awesome getting to meet you for the in real life instead of
in real life instead of
through,
hanging out behind screens and
right,
stuff. Yeah,
through video games
for
and
sure.
all that. Well, that's going to do it for episode number 2 of the Final Split. Be sure to follow Striker on Twitch, and the rest of us, our Twitch accounts are right there as well. Next week we have Bonesaw, and same time, same place, March 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern for episode number 3 of the Final Split. Guys, until next time, remember that your run is not over until you hit the Final Split.
Yes,
We'll see you then.